Welcome back to the Dreamer Boy podcast. If you're new to the show, our mission statement is Jesus people sharing Jesus stories to provoke greater love for Jesus. And today I have two very, very special guests. They're actually two people in my family, my youngest two siblings, my little brother Justus, and my younger sister Ellah. They're actually twins. Guys, go ahead, make your presence known.
Okay. I'm Justus. I'm Nathan's only brother. And he's a great older brother.
Okay, yes, thank you. Ellah, go ahead, make your presence known.
I'm Ellah, and I'm Nathan's fourth sister.
Fourth sister, so you guys are number 5 and number 6.
That's right.
I was 11 years old whenever you guys were born. And now you guys are how old?
14.
14. So who came out first?
Oh, that'll be me. Yeah.
Does that come up a lot?
Very much.
Really?
A lot.
Like in what times does it come up, Ellah?
Mostly when people just ask us, like, if we're twins.
He's always
or
rubbing
who
it in
came
your
first.
face. Is that what he's doing?
Yep.
Number 1.
You're number 1. More like number 5, though. Well, guys, we're so glad that you're here on the Dreamer Boy podcast. Are you guys followers of the show? Do you listen to the episodes?
I've listened to a few. The ones with Connor
Okay.
and with Catherine.
With Catherine. Very good. Just those ones?
Yeah.
Wow, those are back from my first season. So for those who are new to the show, my first season was back when I was in Kansas City. Now I live in Dallas. Season 2 has my new friends here in Dallas, and there's crossover. It's not like it's exclusive from season. Ellah, do you listen to the show?
I've listened to one episode.
Okay,
Your
which
first
episode?
one of season 2.
The first one of season 2 with my friend Brady? Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, shout out Brady. Very cool. Well, today has been a fun day because you guys are actually down here in my part of the country in Dallas, Texas. How has your experience been for your first experience in Texas and your first experience with Dallas? Let's talk about it.
Well, it's been one of a kind. Definitely one to remember. Should we talk about our favorite things?
Sure. What's been your favorite takeaways from Dallas so far?
Well, earlier today, we wake up, we went down, we came here.
Okay, so we come to my apartment, and I live right by this lake called White Rock Lake.
Yeah.
So what did we do?
We went to go feed all the birds with bread, and then we got yelled at.
Okay, yeah, wasn't that weird? So we go down to feed the birds like any normal human being would, right? Because there's a bunch of birds down there, and so we take some old bread, and we're like having a good time. And what happened, Justus?
So this guy, he just tries to tell us, that's not very good for the birds. And he's just trying to act like nobody's done this their whole life.
And so Ellah, what did I say whenever he
You were
said that?
just like, oh, they'll be fine. People have been doing this for hundreds of years. They'll be fine.
Yeah, so I wasn't about to let some random dude who thought that the birds were going to get a tummy ache stop us from doing something that people have been doing for hundreds of years. And then we probably saw like 3 or 4 other people later on feeding birds with bread too. So we fed the birds, and that's super fun. The best is whenever you throw it and they catch it in the air.
Yeah.
When they're like flying and stuff. So that was fun. And then we kind of like mapped out our day, and we're like, okay, we got to go to the store. What did we do next, Ellah?
First, we went to the Guitar Center.
Okay.
And then we went to go get a slice of pizza.
Ooh,
The best pizza.
Yonkers Pizza here in Dallas.
One of the best.
Had to get a slice, right?
Or 2.
Or 2. Man, that is one of the best. Actually, I think it is the best slice that I've ever had. How did you guys like it?
It's up there.
On a rating from 1 to 10, how good was the slice?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
I thought it was really, really good.
Well, you know me.
Okay.
Any pizza is good pizza.
Okay.
I would rate that about maybe 9.5.
9.5.
The ranch might have made it up a little bit.
Yeah. So I tell people this is the first pizza that I try not to do really ranch a whole lot unless I'm doing the crust because it's just so good on its own, and that's rare in a slice of pizza. Anyways, so then we went to the grocery store. We came back, and then it was time to take a dip in the pool.
Yeah.
So a cool thing about being down here in Dallas is it's a lot warmer. So what was it, like 85 degrees today?
Yeah.
One of the warmest days of the year. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we go take a little dip? And so I got a pool right outside my apartment. But that water was freezing.
It was freezing cold.
It didn't stop you from jumping in, though, Justin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta be fearful.
Yeah, you got to be what?
You gotta be fearful.
You mean fearless?
You gotta be fearless.
That's right. And so Ellah, she only went about knee deep, but
Yeah.
Justus and I jumped in the whole way. And so then after that, we came in, we kind of set up the podcast stuff, right? But there was one thing that I had to do before we got going. What did I have to do, Ellah?
You needed a nap.
Yeah.
You said 20 minutes. You slept for an hour.
I slept for an hour? Oh, man. I needed it, too, every single minute of it, because I had the worst night's sleep of my life last night.
Yeah.
I stayed in the hotel with the twins and the rest of my family, except for Hannah. She didn't come down. But Kara, Sarah, my parents, they're all in town for a thing with here in Dallas. And so we stayed in the hotel, and we had a air mattress. Oh, my gosh. Me and Kara got the raw end of the deal. And we had the worst night's sleep of my life. I actually only know of one other night's sleep that was worse than that. So it's in the top 2 in my whole life.
Ella didn't have a very good sleep either.
Yeah, she also
slept on the floor.
She slept on a cot on the floor too. And so we were trying to we squeezed a few extra people into that room.
Only 2 beds and there were 7 of us.
Yes, exactly. So anyways, I needed that nap. Good heavens. And then you know what? We kind of topped it off before we jumped on the podcast. We decided to make a little breakfast for dinner. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ellah, tell the people what we did for dinner.
We made eggs and toast, and then we went out to the pool and ate our breakfast dinner.
We ate poolside.
Yep.
And a couple of us even drank some milk straight out of the carton.
Oh. Best way to drink milk.
You see, when mommy's not around, you don't need a glass.
That's right.
So, man, what a day. And that's really led us through the entire day, led us all the way up to this moment, really.
Oh.
And how does it make you guys feel that you're on the official Dreamer Boy podcast?
Feels great. I think it's cool.
Feels great being one of the only few being selected.
You guys are the youngest guests that's ever come on the show. The youngest before you guys was Kara.
Yep.
She was 19. You guys are 14. And Justus, tell the people what you told me right before we got on about one of your friends at school.
So, I'm at school, lunchtime. Mm-hmm. Got like eight boys at a table.
Okay.
Okay, and one of my friends, not really friends, he sits at our table.
Okay, so it's someone you're not super close with,
Yeah.
but you're friends.
He comes up to me and he's like, dude, my mom sent me this podcast. And he was talking about your dad. And he had our dad in class, or he was in our dad's class last year.
Because our dad is a 7th grade science teacher.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he was talking to me, like, asked me if I knew this, and they were talking about porn addiction and how they got set free. And I told him that was my brother, and he was kind of in shock because he didn't know.
So this friend of yours tells you, hey, have you seen that podcast episode with your dad?
Yeah.
And you told him, yeah, that's my older brother.
Yeah. And he couldn't believe it.
I can't believe that. That is so cool that you have kids at your school who are listening to the show.
Yeah.
And you said his parents just sent him the episode?
Yeah.
Man, that is really awesome. I don't know. I didn't even think about, I guess I do think about that, but I'm like, I don't even know who all listens to this. You know, I know different people who tell me. I've had different people who I don't know, but they're young adults, and they like come up to me at church. They're like, "Hey, I listened to your show," and that's like so awesome to get to hear because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's reaching, you know, a bunch of different people. But I think that's so awesome that some of your friends are even listening to the show.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about middle school for a minute because you guys are 8th graders.
Yep, that's us.
Talk to us about what it's like being a middle schooler in this day and age. And not only that, but I mean, you guys are not just normal middle schoolers. You also love Jesus. Is that true?
Yeah, that is.
So talk to us about, is it difficult going through public school? Is it not as hard as people think? What are like some of the things that you have to deal with on a day-to-day? Ellah, you could go first if you want.
Okay. Well, for me...
And make sure you're talking to that mic, by the way.
For me, I think there's just a lot of drama going on with a bunch of the girls at school and everything. And, like, I think school can be easy sometimes, but then other times it can be kind of hard. But I get by with it. Mm-hmm. I get the homework done and everything's fine.
So related to just like the education side of things, that's not that difficult. But is it tough navigating through the middle school drama?
Sometimes, because sometimes your friends are involved with it, and then that kind of pulls you into it. But then other times it's just like random people, and it's just like, oh, cool.
Yeah. What about you, Justus?
Well, I feel like it's a lot different for me, because it takes a lot for me to not get involved with the drama, but with other stuff, like people telling me what you can and can't do at school.
Like, for example?
Like, talking about like porn and stuff like that. Like how people are watching it at school and stuff like that. You're not allowed to talk about that. Like the teacher will tell you can't say that and stuff like that.
But do you feel like, is that like a kind of everyone kind of knows people watch porn at school?
I think that the boys kind of, they won't like talk about it, but it's kind of like they won't like say any, they won't defend it.
Okay.
If they hear it.
Have you witnessed anything like that before? Or like walked in on into the bathroom or something, people doing something sketchy?
Well, in 6th grade, I walked into the bathroom with a guy, I guess, watching it. And he tried to show me it, and I swatted it.
He tried to show you?
Yeah, and I, grabbed his phone and swatted it out of his hand.
Really? So what was the main reason why you didn't want to watch it?
In the moment, I kind of was thinking of what you and Dad taught me, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and the guy, he just tried to play it cool. Mm-hmm. He was like, "Dude, what? What are you doing, man?" Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How does it make you guys feel that I have a book called Jesus is Better Than Porn? Does that make you guys feel weird? Does it make you think it's awesome? What do you think about that, Ellah?
I think it's cool that you wrote a book and it kind of talks about how you got over porn and how it could help people realize that you can get away from your addiction.
Yeah. But does it make you feel weird or awkward that your older brother used to be involved with pornography and used to be addicted to that stuff? And what do you think about that?
I just think I don't think it's weird that you have a book about it or anything. Mm-hmm. I guess I don't know. Like, I guess it's kind of sad that you were addicted to porn, but it's good now that you overcame it.
Amen.
And now you're helping other people.
And, crazy thing about this, I wasn't really planning on talking about this, but I was actually your guys' age whenever I got wrapped up in all that. And that's crazy for me sitting here, looking at what I looked like when I got involved in that sin that really like hurt me and really hurt other people. I was your guys' age. What do you think about that, Justus?
I kind of think that I feel like I know someone that's kind of like that right now. Mm-hmm. But like it's hard for you to like pinpoint it because of they won't talk about it because they don't want to.
Sure. Yeah. No, I understand that. What's something like, you guys are such an inspiration to me because you guys love Jesus from a young age. Let's talk about Jesus for a little bit.
Okay.
You guys are both involved at our home church, right? In different capacities. Justus, tell us how you're specifically involved with Harvest Church.
So on Tuesdays, we have our youth group with middle schoolers and up, basically.
Yes.
And I've gotten into like switching the big projectors that post up the words, and I've started to like switch the lyrics.
Okay, so you do a little behind the scenes technical stuff.
So I do that on Tuesdays.
Right.
But then on Sundays, I kind of sometimes I'm scheduled downstairs to help the little kids. Second service. Sometimes first service I go in the back and I work the camera.
Yes.
In actual service upstairs.
Wow, so a little behind the camera action.
Yeah.
That's big time.
Yeah.
So what else? Do you guys do stuff with the youth?
Yeah, we yeah, you can.
Ellah, jump in on here.
Well, I do the worship team with the youth group.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. And then
What's your role on the worship team?
I sing.
You're one of the singers? That's awesome. What else?
We just like attend we attend youth group and like all the youth events and everything.
That's awesome. And talk to me about your guys' relationship with Jesus. I want to know specifically, what is your favorite way to engage with Jesus? Whether it's through prayer, through reading the Bible, through listening to a teaching, through worshiping, through whatever it is. What's your favorite way to engage with him in, and why? And just talk about it for a minute. Justus, you go first.
One of my favorites is through dreams.
Wow, little dreamer boy action.
Because I like how he uses some of my favorite things.
Wow.
And makes it like in a whole new perspective and something like that.
Yes. Man, I love that answer, Justus. What the heck? See, yeah, and for you listeners, I'm a big dreamer. That's why this podcast is called Dreamer Boy Podcast. But Justus is also a big dreamer. Is that true?
Yeah.
Would you say that's one of the biggest ways that the Lord speaks to you?
Yeah. Most of the time. Because I feel like in the daytime I forget like other things about it. But I feel like dreams are my most thing about it. But
and do you write your dreams down?
I have not really. Like
oh man, we gotta get those dreams written down, bro.
Yeah, if I remember one specifically, I'll tell like mom about it, and she wrote it down.
And she writes them down, yeah.
Yeah, like this. If it's really long, she'll write it down for me.
And I want to encourage anyone who's listening and they think to themselves, "Wow, Justus, the Lord speaks to him through dreams. I want the Lord to speak to me through dreams." He most definitely wants to. And he will. All you have to do is ask him, "Lord, give me a dream like you give Justus a dream." And it's actually, if you read the Bible, you'll see all kinds of different people in the scriptures that the Lord spoke to them through dreams. And I like that you hit on that, Justus, that it's very personal the way that he speaks to you through dreams. Like he kind of uses different imagery and different things that mean something special to you. That's one of my favorite things about dreams too.
Yeah.
Ellah, what about you? What's one of your favorite ways that you engage with the Lord?
Probably worship, because sometimes we'll be at youth and we'll like do a special song,
Yeah.
and like sometimes it will speak to me or something, or then sometimes I'll like sit in my closet and I'll play worship songs, and because I don't ever get dreams.
Really?
Yeah, I don't dream very much.
That's okay. So whenever you're in your closet, are you talking about you'll play worship music and stuff like on your phone and your headphones and stuff?
Yeah.
So who's some of your favorite worship leaders?
I don't know. I kind of like some Corey Asbury.
Oh, Corey
And then I
Asbury.
like some Maverick City.
Okay.
Yeah, like, and just whatever. Like sometimes I'll just like a song, but I don't really know who wrote it.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Justus? Do you like listening to worship and stuff like that?
Yeah. One of my favorite songs for worship is from Maverick City.
Is that right? Which one is that?
Most Beautiful.
Oh.
It's in like small church.
What does that mean?
Well, it's in like that everybody is around them.
Oh, yeah, kind of all in a
Like,
circle.
you know that video?
Yes.
Yeah.
On YouTube. Most Beautiful, that's a good one. I think, do you guys like Laura Hackett? Mm-hmm. Laura Hackett and Jonas Park are my favorite worship leaders.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I had a crush on Laura Hackett. And when I was about 16 years old. But then one time I came back to the One Thing conference where she would lead worship and she had a husband. And I was like, no. But talk to me about Jesus specifically. What do you like about Jesus?
Well, like I like that he's in this group that mom and dad lead. Mm-hmm. It's like Destiny groups on Wednesdays.
On Wednesday nights, kind of a small group thing?
But so I babysit a different one on Thursdays.
Okay.
Sometimes kids aren't there, so I'm a part of that group.
Oh, cool.
And they've been like talking about Jesus and how he's like relates to you, and he kind of helped me realize that whenever you sin and stuff, he's not gonna like. He understands why, but like it's kind of like you. It's kind of like a father. He's a father.
Wow.
And like it's not like he's not here to like hurt you and stuff like that. He's here to help you with your stuff, and
Yeah.
he's not gonna punish you for all these things. He's gonna try and help you instead of.
Wow. So,
all that stuff.
so you like how Jesus is not just about punishing you whenever you do something wrong, but helping you learn how to walk in such a way that you don't do that stuff anymore. Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that kind of like putting it in different words?
He like reminds you. For me, he'll like remind you through the day. For me,
He reminds you throughout the day.
yeah. Like if you're like rude to someone, he'll kind of like. I kind of like remember stuff.
Wow. So I would probably say that's even the Holy Spirit who maybe convicts you and shows you different things that he wants to work out in you, or maybe shows you like, hey, that I didn't really like that. But he does more than that. He's not only does he point stuff out that maybe is sinful or something like that, but he's committed to making us walk in righteousness and walk free from sin. Is that what you would say?
Yeah.
That's so good, bro. Ellah, what about you? What's some of your favorite things about Jesus?
I think my favorite thing is just like I just remember that like he's very forgiving and everything. Like if you do something like really bad, like not that it's like okay, but he forgives you. I think that's great.
Yeah. 100%. Like, we know that we have the confidence that we can come to him anytime we sin or anytime that we mess up, and we can come to him in repentance, and he's faithful to forgive us of our sins every single time because of what he did on the cross. He actually paid for all of them. Man, I love that stuff. Do you feel like, what's something when you look and you're like, one day I'm going to be older, I'm going to be in my 20s. What's something that you want to be true about yourself? Say 10 years from now, you guys are 14 now, and now you're 10 years into the future. Now you're both are 24. Where do you want to be related to just being a young man or woman in the Lord? What do you want to be true about you at 24 years old?
You wanna go first? Sure. I think I just want to.
You know what?
I don't know how to like.
Let me ask a better question. If one day, God forbid, you get to a place where you go through a tough season, and maybe you walk away from the Lord, or this is just a theoretical situation where maybe you're like, I don't know what I think about Jesus, or you're going through a tough time and you're kind of wrapped up in this or that. I hope this never happens to you, but if it does, what's something that you would say to that person? So say your 24-year-old self who's having a hard time, what would your 14-year-old self right now say to that person? You like that question?
Yeah. I'll go first.
Okay.
I would probably think right now, based on what you're talking about and what we're talking about right now, how like if you don't like think that he's a part of your life in 10 years from now, I'd be thinking about what he's already done. Like the podcast, whenever my arm was broken, he like reduced that.
Oh, tell us about that.
So whenever I broke my elbow,
When was this?
February 4th.
Oh, this is this past year?
No. The year before that.
2021.
Yes.
Okay, February 4th, 2021, you broke your elbow.
I broke my elbow at youth group.
Okay.
Okay. And we went to the emergency room.
Yes.
And they said they wrap your arm with that like, not a cast, but it's
okay,
like before the cast.
Sure.
And they said I would have to be in that cast for like 4 weeks.
Okay.
And so we went home and stuff. And Dad basically went to this. We prayed and stuff. Went to church that day or that weekend. And he got to this place. We went to a clinic, sports clinic.
Yep.
And they said that I would only have to be in it for 3 days.
Really? So after you guys prayed, you go back to the clinic.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it got reduced from 4 weeks to 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
very,
amazing.
Very short thing. And then we came back and we got a cast, and like we were just gonna like keep checking in basically. Right. And I only had the cast for like 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks
altogether. And so but you were gonna have to be in the other thing for like 4 weeks.
Yeah. And it would have had to been like a long process.
Oh my gosh. So the Lord basically cut the healing process in half.
Yeah. Basically.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it like helped a lot.
And so you would want to remind yourself in the future, if you ever went astray, of how the Lord placed his hand on you and healed you and so like, and made himself real to you. Is that basically what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Ellah, what about you? What would you tell your 24-year-old self if she decided to kind of go astray?
I feel like I just want to be like there's still like time to like go back and like just go back. Like, don't do this. Like, you're making the wrong choice. And I'd just be like encouraging I guess.
So what's like, that's awesome. What's a reason you would give, like, why should she come back to Jesus?
Because if she doesn't, like, there are a bunch of people, like, I don't know, but who would do that, and then they would just, like, it just go downhill, and, like, everything would just be awful. And I'm sure I wouldn't want to be one of those people.
Where just like their life gets really like hurt by different things, the decisions that they're making. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I thought it was a creative question. I pray that that never happens to either one of you guys. I pray that you guys walk with the Lord in every season of your life. And but who knows? Maybe if ever you're having a hard time, perhaps at some point I'll just send you guys this recording and you can hear your 14-year-old selves. Well, guys, this has been such an awesome podcast episode, and I want to give you guys an opportunity before we like sign off or anything to ask me any type of question or bring up a topic that you specifically want to talk about for a few minutes. If there's something just on your heart that you want to ask me, or you're like, hey, I thought we were going to talk about this, I want to give you guys the opportunity. Justus, you got something on your mind?
Yeah. I'm kind of like trying to figure out if I think like that someone is like addicted to porn,
Yeah.
how I can like kind of help them through that
Wow.
and talk about it
Yes.
with them.
Man, that's such a good question, bro. And I'm so proud of you, man, for just like the way that you have boldness to even talk about this subject. I think that is, for both of you guys, that's something that's super rare for people amongst your age, especially in the Christian world, right? Because sometimes people will talk about it in like a joking way and stuff. But I love that you guys have confidence to be able to talk about this hard subject. And with the purpose of like, you know, learning about what the Lord thinks about it, all that stuff. What I would say, bro, here's what you can do, and anyone who's listening and that's your age, you can begin to first pray for them. So whoever your friend is that you think might be struggling with this, with watching pornography, you can begin to pray for them. You don't even have to pray with them where they are at, but you can begin to lift them up to the Lord and say, Lord, God, I feel like my friend might be struggling with this. God, I pray that you would keep them from the enemy, that you would guard them from the entanglement of this addiction, Lord, that they would not get wrapped up in this. And if they are, Lord, I pray that you would bring freedom to them. So you can begin to contend for them in prayer like that. But also, if you do know that someone is wrapped up in it already and you want to begin to talk to them, you can talk about, hey man, my older brother, he used to watch porn when he was our age, and it got him wrapped up into this long addiction for 5 years, and to a place where he couldn't even stop watching, where he was like addicted to it. He wanted to stop, but he couldn't. And it made him do all kinds of stuff that he never would have done otherwise, hurting himself, hurting other people. But Jesus set him free and can set you free too. And so what I would say, man, is just talking to them about how harmful it can be, right?
Yeah.
Because in the early stages, it doesn't seem so harmful. Maybe it's more enjoyable or whatever, but the longer you're in it, the more it really hurts you. And that's what a lot of people your age don't understand. And I didn't understand that when I was your age too. But then giving them hope that they can be free. And you could even talk to them about the book that I wrote too, because I wrote the book for people your age to be able to have this conversation. What do you think about all that, bro?
Yeah. And I'm just like, I feel like it might take a while. Don't you think?
Take a while for what?
For them to like kind of believe me, maybe, or kind of get the courage to like take the steps.
Sure.
I guess.
Maybe. Perhaps. You never know. Every situation will be different.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that Jesus lives on the inside of you. And so even you being friends with them gives them a fighting chance. And we also know that Jesus can set them free in a moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hope that we can give people. We can tell them what Jesus can do, and anything that they're looking for in pornography, Jesus actually offers it to them, and it's in a real way. Like a lot of times they're looking for joy and pleasure, right? Well, the scriptures say that in the presence of God, there's joy, there's the fullness of joy, and there's pleasures forevermore. And so even talking about like, hey man, Jesus is better than all this stuff, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think about all that?
I think that it'll be hard for me to kind of get the courage to talk about it. 'Cause
Sure.
I only really see them at school.
Yeah.
So, and like at the lunch table.
Yeah, man.
So,
Well, and man, I tell you what, start out by just praying for them. And I truly believe that the Lord will give you the courage and the boldness to have a conversation if that's what needs to happen. And you don't need to feel pressure like you have to be the one to save them or anything like that. You know, the Lord's going to use you in the right moment. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And you just love them and be praying for them. And who knows, they might even come to you knowing that your older brother has a cool testimony or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And you don't have to feel pressure to like do something, but just loving them and loving them like Jesus.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a great question, man. Thanks for bringing that up. Ellah, is there something on your heart that you're like thinking like, you know what? I kind of want to talk about this for a few minutes before we jump off. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's hear it.
Like, what do you think your, like, 14-year-old self would think of you now?
Wow. Okay, so my 14-year-old self, so now I'm 25. So 11 years down the road. Man, I think that if I could look ahead and see my life at 25 years old, I think it would make me really, really excited because I truly am having so much fun following Jesus. I'm having so much fun with I have such a great group of friends, not only here in Dallas, but in Kansas City and in lots of different places. I'm getting to do so many of the things that the Lord has put on my heart. And so I think if I could see all this, it would be really encouraging to me that I would get to do all this awesome stuff with the Lord. I definitely, at 14, I definitely thought I would be married a little bit earlier. And I almost was, right? Because I got engaged right when I turned 20. You guys remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You guys were little. Or I guess, yeah, how old were you guys?
That was, you were 9?
9.
You were 9 when
9
that
or
happened.
10.
So you weren't super little, but
I remember.
you definitely
Stuff.
remember, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think my 14-year-old self probably thought I would be married a little bit earlier, like I almost was originally. But I think I would be really excited. You know, it's a good question, Ellah. When I was 16, so 2 years older than you guys, I basically had a conversation with myself and with the Lord, and I realized I wasn't really on the path to becoming the man of God that I envisioned for myself. Does that make sense? So I kind of had this idea when I was young, about your guys' age, of this man of God that I wanted to be one day. But then I realized when I was 16 that I wasn't just going to wake up one day and be that on accident. But rather, it was the decisions that I was making, you know, through high school and through after high school, through my teenage years into my early 20s, that was going to lead me to becoming, the actual young man of God that I wanted to be. And so I think that's something for you guys to think about too. It's you guys are already taking steps to becoming the young men and women that you want to be in the Lord when you get to your 20s. And some of your friends aren't doing that. Some of your friends, even in high school, will just go off on these routes. They're like, well, I just want to have fun now and just want to do some of this crazy stuff. And all of that, it's not helping them become who they're called to be. And so, but yeah, that's a good question. What made you think of that?
I don't know.
Ooh, talking to the mic.
I don't know. You were just asking us, like, what do you think what we would think about our older self if we started going, like, downhill?
Well, that's a good question. That leads me into, let's go with this final question. Okay. What do you want to be doing when you're my age, 25 years old? What do you have envisioned 60 seconds on what your life looks like at 25?
At 25, I have a few options.
Okay.
Well, based on seeing Dallas, looks like a cool place to live in. So maybe I might be married.
Okay.
I might have kids.
Is that something that you would want?
I definitely want kids.
Yeah.
Definitely want a few.
Okay.
Maybe more. Based on my friend Lucas's experience with his parents are missionaries and how much he loves it and stuff like that, or how much he says it's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But he really likes the traveling and stuff.
Really?
But that's what I think. Yes. But I feel like my kids would like that a lot, and my wife.
Really? And so maybe being a missionary.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or just traveling a lot with them.
Okay.
Or if everything goes perfect, I might be a sports star.
A sports star? Which sport?
If everything goes perfect. Maybe soccer or basically any sport I can get to.
Right on, man. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Ellah, what about you? What does your life look like in a perfect world at 25 years old?
I'd want to be married and have kids.
Really? How many kids do you want to have?
4.
4 kids?
Yeah.
Okay. And what else?
Dogs.
Oh, you want dogs too?
Yeah. But if none of that happens at 25, then I just want to be living with my best friend.
Your best friend. And where, if you could choose anywhere to live, where would it be?
Either Warrensburg or Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
Because they're close to home.
Stay close to home. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I like both of those ideas. It'll be pretty interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
Because over the next few years, you guys are going to grow. You guys are going to start growing up quick. And who knows what the Lord will bring on your path and where he will lead you. But I'm so excited to see where he's going to lead you, because I know that you guys are both called to wonderful things in him, and that his plan for your life is perfect. That's what I know. So, well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. This was awesome.
My pleasure.
If there's one thing that you could say to your friends listening back at home, what would you say to them?
I'd say I remember when I was younger, and he would like tell me how it's like it's okay and it's normal to talk about like sex and pornography.
Oh, wow.
With your older brother or dad and stuff.
Yeah.
That kind of like take the step to, because I remember whenever I was younger, I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
To talk about it whenever I'd say like sex and stuff like that. And like in your book, you talked about that story in the car.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that once you kind of like get through that, it's
That initial awkwardness.
yeah. That it becomes more I think you become more free to talk about stuff. And then
Wow.
and then you get more you don't feel like you can talk about certain things. You can talk about
You feel free to talk about any subject.
yeah.
Wow. That's so good, Justus. So you would encourage your friends to take the steps in their relationships with maybe their dad or their older brother or something, and like, and same goes for girls too, just to begin to get comfortable talking about maybe difficult subjects. Is that kind of
Yeah.
wrap it up?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Ellah, what would you say to your friends who are listening to the show?
I don't know. I don't know. Just like I don't know. Hi, I guess.
Oh, shout out to all my friends.
Oh yeah.
That's okay. All right. Well, why don't we bring the show down to a close, guys? I'm so glad you came. I'm so glad you were on the show. I'm so glad I got to spend the day with you today. Today was so much fun, and I feel
Yeah.
like this was just the cherry on top, if you will.
Yeah.
And now we're going to like wrap it all up, probably watch a movie or something. Who
Yeah.
knows?
We could do anything.
The
Mom's
night-
not around.
Mommy's not
Yeah.
here. And we do love mommy, of course.
Shout out to mom.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been another episode of the Dreamer Boy podcast. We're so glad that you listen. Make sure that you send it to your friends if you feel like, man, I think there's a particular friend of mine who would really enjoy this episode. Send it to them. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. You can also follow us, Dreamer Boy Media, on Instagram and TikTok. And if you want to go purchase that book that Justus was mentioning a couple times, it's called Jesus is Better Than Porn, and you can buy it on Amazon today. All right? Well, we thank you so much for joining us. This has been another episode of Jesus People, sharing Jesus stories to provoke greater love for Jesus. And we pray that that is what happened to you today. So until next time, we'll see you later.